Hi. Greetings from Wisdom Lord Raphael. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification icon and don't miss any contents. This is the light novel of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. If you haven't watched previous video, I will leave the link on the description box, or you can click here. Let's start. This is Tensura Light Novel Volume 16. Tensura Light Novel. Volume 16. The End of the Game. Chapter 3. Toward Rebuilding. New Problems. The next morning, Gazel and his group left. Calgurio and the rest of their group, in accordance with the agreed plan, began to prepare for their return. The work was still in progress, but the construction would be handed over to Adalman's men. There were some who wanted to stay in the country, but they were persuaded to give priority to the stability of the empire first, before thinking about immigration. In less than a week, the preparations were completed, and they were scheduled to depart. In this way, the remaining problems were identified, countermeasures were devised, and the status quo was confirmed. There were no problems on the imperial side. We would just have to wait for word from Tensura, taking a wait-and-see approach, until the situation changed. The Dwarven Kingdom was a bit worried. If a Seraph-level enemy appeared, Gazel and the others would have a difficult time. However, the city of Dworgen, which was like a natural fortress, was equipped with multiple magical defenses. It wouldn't be easy to break through them, so they could just contact us whenever something happened. I had also given Gazel a cell phone, so he could use it in the case of an emergency. And one more thing. I decided to send Ajera over to Gazel's side. Gazel had told me that he wanted to retrain himself. Ajera had also asked to go out for a while to calm his mind. He said he had a lot to worry about and mull over. Pereira had no hesitation in saying that Ajera could do as he pleased. As for me, knowing Ajera's situation, I was at a loss as to how to respond. I accepted the suggestion, thinking that time was of the essence here. With this, even Dworgen could withstand an endurance battle. Of course, it would be best if nothing went wrong, but if something did happen, they could still manage. The kingdom of Farminas, where Yaum and the others were, had also been dealt with. Diablo sent Gadra to explain the situation. He hadn't had a private meeting with me, so he had left 2 days ago. Gadra also had a role as a guardian of the labyrinth, but there was no demon colossus. There was not even a remnant of the wreckage, so we had to build it from scratch. The researchers seemed to have rejoiced, because there were some new functions they were excited to try. It was not easy on my wallet to pay for the materials, but I asked them to make a satisfactory product since the government treasury would be paying for it this time. Since there was still some time before the completion of the project, it was agreed that he would stay in Farminas for the time being. As for the kingdom of Bloomant and the western nations, Xian was there, and I also sent Zonda for support. The demons are basically capable of spatial transportation, so they should be able to handle most situations. To be honest, I didn't think it made strategic sense to target us from these locations, so I didn't plan to take any further measures. I didn't think so, but if the enemy ever committed an act of human genocide, Guy wouldn't stand for it. He wouldn't want the human race to perish, so he would be sure to take action. And then there was Luminous. If the situation was not serious enough for Guy to make a move, Luminous and the Holy Knight Order would take care of the situation. The 3 drunk sages had been informed of the situation, so Glenda and the others would be working behind the scenes. Depending on the situation, we decided that we could do something by stalling for time. Incidentally, I had also given Glenda a cell phone. It wasn't for personal use, but just as a means of communication between the 3 drunk sages and us. Because of this phone, we could respond immediately if something happened. So it was just a matter of settling down and waiting for word from the western nations. And now, the question that remained was whether or not there would be any unintended traitors. Regarding that, it is probably useless to think about it. No, it's not useless. There is a big difference between being prepared and not being prepared in the case of an emergency. And so, while in the office, I began to think about the things that mattered most while looking over the reports of the damage in each area. I told Gazel and the others to watch out for anyone who had awakened an angelic ultimate skill, but he had looked at me with a face that seemed to have lost its expression. Then, quietly, he said, "Listen, Rimuru. In the first place, the ultimate skill is a secret. It is only a tradition that mentions that one was acquired by Grand Dwargo-sama, the first hero king of the dwarves, yet it is so important that its authenticity is unknown. Not many people know if it was true, not even Vaughn and Dolph. And yet, you don't talk to me like it's just normal to have them." Yeah. In the end, I was scolded, but I was told that this was the common sense of the world. In other words, the number of people who even knew about the existence of ultimate skills was extremely small. The reality is that there was currently no way to find out if anyone possessed an angelic type among them. It was too much to worry about, so I decided to ignore it. Or at least I did. When I calmed down and reconsidered the situation, I realized that there were some people who were unexpectedly close to me. At the very least, Guy and Luminous were certain to have one. Leon's strength was also extraordinary, so I think he might have one as well. I didn't know about Dagrul, but even Dino had one, so I think it was better to assume that he had one. Oh, speaking of Dagrul. I recall that Luminous, from what she had heard about the future from Chloe, said that Dagrul would take advantage of the Empire to start a war. However, that didn't seem to be the case this time. Was there a reason for this, or was he being influenced by someone? If it was Michael's doing, then we could take countermeasures. I think we needed to have a proper discussion about this. What about Milam? Maybe it's just that I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was something. I'm sure Milam would tell me what was going on, and I'm also curious about Carrion and Free Sense conditions. I should go and talk to them. Just as I was thinking about all this. Can you hear me? We are having a Walpurgis right now. I know it's sudden, but I need everyone to attend. That is all. Suddenly, a voice echoed in my head. Rather, this was. I turned my gaze to my fingertips and saw a ring shining at the base of my right pinky finger. It was a ring I had forgotten I was even wearing. It was the Demon Lord's ring that I had received when I became a Demon Lord. That is to say, the voice coming out belonged to Guy. I hadn't used it at all until now, so I must have forgotten that it had such a function. No, this was not the time to be thinking about these things. Xian, go get Shuna. Yes. I looked at Diablo as Xian ran off happily. It's Guy. It seems that we'll be holding a Walpurgis right now. Oh, it's not like Guy to do things without prior notice. It's a bit incomprehensible that Guy personally contacted someone in the first place. That's what bothered me, too. Guy was a prideful man who was always calm in his way. It was to the point that even his men were not allowed to talk to him. I had a bad feeling about this. I was told that you wanted to see me. I am here. Rimuru, it's a big deal. Something definitely must have happened if Guy actually contacted us himself. Shuna entered the room, but Ramrus, who hadn't even been called, also came along. Not only Beretta, but Trainee-sen was there with her as well. Come to think of it, she was also a Demon Lord, so it was only natural that Ramrus had a Demon Lord's ring as well. Ramrus told me that it was rare for Guy to organize Walpurgis. There seemed to have been a time in the past when Ramrus, Milam, and Guy were the only 3 Demon Lords, but nothing of the sort had happened in over 1,000 years. Well, since it was all happening right now, it was definitely an emergency. This is what I wanted to talk about, Shuna. I don't have time to explain in detail, but I would be taking Xian and Diablo with me to Walpurgis. Tell Benimaru to take care of things while I'm gone. Shuna nodded wisely as I said this. Understood. Good luck, Rimuru-sama. I nodded and got ready. Then I waited quietly for the pickup. Soon, the blue-haired Rain, dressed in a dark red maid's uniform, jumped through space to reveal herself. Ramrus had given her permission to enter the labyrinth, but her sudden appearance was still unsettling. However, right now was not the time to worry about that. Because Rain was covered with wounds. At this point, I realized that my bad premonition had come true. Rain-chan, are you okay? What the hell? Ramrus and I asked in surprise, but Rain quietly shook her head. Don't worry about me. I will explain everything to you once we're all together, so please move along for now. I had no words to reply after hearing that. I did as I was told, and Rain led me away. Upon arriving at our destination, we would be confronted with new problems. That's all for today, hope you guys enjoy it. Please check my other videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the notification icon. And don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching.